Just do it. Three simple words, but these three words have arguably helped to transform a small sneaker company into a 44 billion global powerhouse. And Nike is not just a brand, it's a movement and a masterclass in building a brand that resonates. Today, we are diving into the incredible success story of Nike. And whether you're an entrepreneur, a brand builder, or someone just looking for inspiration, this story is something that you must know. Now, let's start with the basics of Nike's story. It all started in 1962 when Phil Knight, a runner from the University of Oregon, and his coach Bill Bowerman created a company called Blue Ribbon Sports. And their mission was to bring affordable, high-performance running shoes from Japan to the United States market. The focus was runners only at first, and Phil Knight was literally going around the country to sell their sneakers out of his car trunk. That's how they got traction, and building on their initial successes, in 1971, Blue Ribbon Sports became Nike, named after the Greek goddess of victory. And victory was coming fast for sure. Nike gained even more traction when famous athletes started wearing their shoes, like John Anderson did when winning the Boston Marathon. By the late 1970s, Nike was the go-to brand for professional athletes. So what were the three main factors that helped Nike gain traction at first? The first one was timing, the jogging boom. Jogging was just becoming a cultural phenomenon in the 1970s, so there was an element of luck and timing that helped Nike to be perfectly positioned with their affordable, performance-oriented shoes. And the second one is innovation. Nike really wanted to create the best shoes available, and their waffle sole and lightweight designs were not just about looking good, they were functional innovations that solved real problems for runners. And the third one is endorsements. Albeit at first less strategically, but Nike started partnering up with athletes who gave credibility to the brand. Now, despite the successes of the 1970s, by the mid-80s, things have drastically slowed down and Nike hit a plateau. Sales dipped and competitors like Reebok emerged, and the brand had to pivot. This was arguably a make or break moment for the company, but they came out on top as they shifted from being a product-focused company to becoming a marketing-oriented company and focusing on the consumer rather than just the product. They positioned themselves not as just a sportswear brand, but as a lifestyle brand for anyone striving for greatness. And what started off as on and off collaborations with athletes became a central element of the way how Nike was telling their story. This was the shift that turned Nike into a cultural icon. And in Phil Knight's own words, "For years, we thought of ourselves as a production-oriented company, meaning we put all our emphasis on designing and manufacturing the product. We came to see that focusing solely on the product was a great way for a brand to start, but it just wasn't enough. In the early days, when we were just a running shoe company and almost all our employees were runners, we understood the consumer very well. We saw athletes as being at the top of the pyramid, with weekend jocks in the middle of the pyramid and everybody else who wore athletic shoes at the bottom. Even though about 60% of our product is bought by people who don't use it for the actual sport, everything we did was aimed at the top. We said if we get the people at the top, we'll get the others because they will know that the shoe can perform." When the formulas that got Nike up to 1 billion in sales, being good at innovation and production and being able to sign great athletes, stopped working, we realized that the most important thing we do is marketing the product. Marketing now knits the whole organization together. Everything spins off the consumer. And while technology is still important, the consumer has to lead the innovation. We have to innovate for a specific reason, and that reason comes from the market. Now, what the founder Phil Knight realized is that Nike was not just selling shoes, they were selling aspiration. So they started focusing on evoking powerful emotions such as success, motivation, and self-improvement. And this shift solidified Nike as a potent and influential brand that can successfully market to mass audiences. Now, let's talk about some of their game-changing campaigns. The first one is obviously the Just Do It campaign that was launched in 1988, and it's one of the most successful marketing slogans of all time. It wasn't about selling product, it was about empowering people to take action. And whether you're an elite athlete or a beginner, Just Do It spoke to everyone's inner drive to push their limits. Another one that stood out was the Find Your Greatness campaign during the 2012 Olympics. Nike wasn't an official sponsor, but they flipped the script by telling stories of everyday athletes, reminding us that greatness exists in all of us, not just the Olympians. Now, all these campaigns leveraged what marketers call called emotional branding. They didn't just sell sneakers, they sold motivation, resilience, and the promise of victory. So what can we learn from Nike's playbook? The first one is to know your audience. Nike understands that their customers are not just buying shoes, they're buying what the shoes represent: achievement, empowerment, self-improvement, and belonging to a movement. Then second up, build emotional connections. Nike's campaigns inspire action and create loyalty by tapping into universal emotions like motivation and ambition that everybody knows. Position yourself as a lifestyle. They didn't just stay in the sportswear lane. Nike evolved into a brand that stands for values like winning, grit, and greatness. Again, concepts that everybody understands. Then innovate with purpose. Nike's waffle sole wasn't just innovative, it solved a real problem for runners, and innovation without a clear purpose won't resonate. Leverage influencers. From Michael Jordan to today's social media creators, Nike shows that authenticity and partnerships is key to building trust. Now, at its core, Nike is not just a brand, it's a belief system. And if there is one thing we can all take away from their story, it's this: the importance of storytelling. The benefits of your product are important, but they only take you to a certain level. About that, it's all about the emotions that you evoke, finding your voice, telling your story, and connecting with your audience on a deeper level. So that was today's analysis of Nike. Let me know in the comments which brand you want to hear next, and I'll see you in the next one.